I need to get back to the overworld, but there's one major problem. I'm several layers deep, all the way down in a hostile dimension called the Undergarden. What stands between me and feeling the sun on my face is escaping the basement after getting this video done. I mean, countless challenges through strange worlds and difficult entities that have ended playthroughs for me before. So can I do it? Hi, I'm Cosmo, and welcome to Abyssal Ascent Part 1, Escape the Undergarden. Spawning in was a bit strange. That structure was definitely pretty cool though.
Where the am I? Oh. Okay.
Getting started was confusing at first, especially given that I was trapped in this structure, but I wound up getting my first stone pickaxe together and escaping to finally traverse the rest of the Undergarden.
This place is very dark. Ooh, diamonds. I need iron before I can mine the diamonds. Is there iron? Ooh, that looks like iron. Gimme, gimme, gimme. I'm gonna have diamonds my first 10 minutes, bro, because I'm just that good of a gamer. Ooh, torch. I can make a torch. Now I can see.
Clogram, for those unfamiliar with the Undergarden mod, is the dimensions equivalent to iron, and it will be very useful to us in the beginning, and while we're here in general because of that. My first focus was on ores for resources. I knew I'd need quite a lot for the plans I had, which I suppose I can kind of talk about now. Given that we have to ascend through the dimensions and that we don't have fast ladders, I decided to go with a sort of railway to heaven situation. And yeah, before you comment about it, bubble elevators were completely viable. I just didn't think they were as funny, plus they don't work in the nether. At first I didn't really know how I felt about the Undergarden, but it definitely started to grow on me the longer I was there. When I first read the concept of the mod pack, I was like, why wouldn't you start the player in the nether as the fiery core of the planet? But the more I think about it, the more it makes sense from a progression perspective to start the player off in the Undergarden. It's hostile and resources like wood and other common things are limited, but it has plenty of ores and it isn't near as deadly as the nether would be for someone just spawning in. So while it still presents a challenge, it won't beat down players that are maybe a bit inexperienced.
Ethereum. Guys, we got the urethra ore. We got it again. Let's go.
Eutherium is the actual name of the ore, and it is stronger than diamond. It's our best resource while we're stuck down here.
Dude, I was playing on this one server, Abyssal Realms, which is one I posted a video about. Literally, I was screwing with people on the server, and I've come to find the people on that server were getting my TikToks on their For You page. And that's why nobody was taking my bait. I was like baiting people to mess with them, and they knew who I was. And I was like, what?
So I've been getting recognized often enough when I go into modded servers that I genuinely have to get an alt account going so that I can like go stealth mode. I did a bit more mining, wanting to see how long it would take for me to get up to the Eutherium toolset.
Oh, it's the evil gender juice! Ah! It only gets worse from here. Let's brain rot next year, hopefully. Nah, bro. I hope 2026 is gonna be awesome. Okay, I think I just have a better role for ores in this dimension. Since we're in the Undergarden, we need to make a sword that can deal with the rot spawn.
I'm currently reading through the entire Stormlight archive by Brandon Sanderson. I'm on Rhythm of War for other readers who are curious. And I bring this up because there's something called rot spren in that book series, and I keep reading rot spawn as rot spren, and I don't know, I just wanted to say that.
Oh. Ow! Why are you gooping on me? You stop gooping. Stop gooping on me. You don't get to goop on me, bro.
So looking back, I'm pretty sure I could have actually mined the arcane debris at this point, but I just didn't realize that. So I was waiting till I had a higher tier pickaxe. Arcane debris from iron spells and spellbooks, which will be the best option in regards to getting stronger in this mod pack, is important, and you'll see why shortly. I spent the first part of the stream gathering ores and just talking with the chat and allowing goofy moments like this to happen.
Cosmo Schlatt PNG. Dude. I'm at the point where my content is getting enough traction for Schlatt to eventually see it. That's like my nightmare, bro. That happens in my nightmares. It haunts me at night. Bang, were you around for Schlattanotic? It's literally just Jay Schlatt with my character's features edited onto it. I got them in croc form. Like, I have a pair of Crocs that just has that image printed all over them. I was thinking about submitting to his room tour thing and like just having the Crocs on my bed and just passing over them without like zooming in. I might do it because it'd be really funny.
I realized I would need more strings soon, especially if I wanted a better sword than just vanilla, since I needed a way to handle it to be able to make more complex weapons. And I know getting twisty roots is one way to do it, but I'm not in the biome those are in. So in the meantime, I had enough Eutherium to make an entire armor set, which I wound up doing.
Unchained. Ooh, dented. What the freak?
So I kept exploring, encountering this absolutely adorable creature and getting even more ores. I also explored the quest book a bit. This would serve as our guide, especially with how different progression is within this pack. I kept wandering the Undergarden for a long while until I stumbled upon this structure, which I knew would be worth looting.
Oh, this has the pyromancer. Doesn't he eat me if I steal his stuff? Are you friendly? Yeah, you're friendly. Okay. I should eat him first.
I opted to put him in a box so I didn't get absolutely destroyed in a minute, since I was 100% planning to rob this guy for everything he owned. I'm not even exaggerating, that's exactly what I wound up doing. I know the Iron Spells and Spellbooks mod is what this structure is from, and I also know that they tend to hide insane loot in very weird spots inside of their structures, but without a backpack I couldn't shred this place the way I wanted to, so I decided to look into what I would need to get my hands on one.
Alright, we need to make a backpack, which is leather. I'll have to go kill a skintling and I'll have to find a way to get leather, which it looks like I can get it from rotten flesh. Oh, I can cut up leather stuff. Well, we saw that village, so if we go to that village, we should be fine. Are you mad at me? Yeah, he won't trade with me anymore. I think he's mad at me.
So I left and headed toward what I thought was a village structure, only to realize when I got there that it was in fact a dungeon and not a village, so that wasn't as good. But good news, rotten flesh can be converted into leather, which I needed for the backpack, so still a win. It taking longer wasn't really an issue for me. I had time to spare, and the extra levels would absolutely not be something to say no to. Though I did have to build this little shelter to avoid the mobs that were spawning outside of the dungeon. They would have been able to sneak up on me otherwise.
Now, backpack up. Oh! Nuh-uh. Not getting me with the Filza attack today, buddy.
And yeah, this dungeon was genuinely the gift that kept on giving. Knowing we'd likely be stressing about levels and resources later on, I sat here a while even after making the backpack I needed. Plus, I got the materials to upgrade it to iron tier, since Clogram is this dimension's iron equivalent. However, gold is still pretty hard to find here, so unless I get it from a villager, I'm probably stuck with a lower tier backpack until I get to the nether. But then I made a bit of a deadly mistake.
Oh, hello. Ooh, lots of zombies. This might be the end, chat. Uh-oh. Yeah, I might be dead here. I don't have a shield. Yeah, I'm cooked. Could run further. I'm just the goat. I'm just the giga goat, bro. Okay, baby zombies.
I sounded so nonchalant and unbothered in the stream audio, but just so you guys know, I was actually shaking trying to not die to that horde of zombies. If I did, getting my stuff would have been such a pain, and also dying to basic zombies in a heavily modded playthrough is kind of just humiliating. So I exacted my revenge and got a cool rapier from one of them as I made my way back over to my little hut, blocking off the hole that got me into the mess in the first place while I got my bearings. And when I went to leave to grab some food, I saw this skeleton, because I can never catch a break.
He was dual wielding! He was dual wielding! Dude, literally aura farming skeleton. What the hell? I need to get a... Oh my god, there's so many! There's so many of them! I'm only one of me! Leave me alone! I just need food. I'm only one person, I just need food. I'm just a hungry boy. I'm just a hungry boy, leave me alone! Penis tree! I was just a hungry dude. They wouldn't leave me alone. Bravely ran away, literally ran away with bravery in my veins. I inject aura into my veins every morning. I got it prescribed by my doctor. I'm aura maxing.
When I left, I spotted another iron spell structure, and this time I knew the location of the hidden loot because I'd seen it before, so I ran straight for it and got some really nice stuff from the barrel under the house. Almost enough gold for a backpack upgrade, actually. I walked into the house and immediately went to bother the guy that lived there, harassing him until I could see his trades, which kind of sucked, so I went about tearing his house apart and robbing him blind instead, as any good Samaritan would. I landed a fire ward ring from this, which I was especially happy about, and of course I taunted him a little bit, testing to see if I could still trade with him before leaving the house to continue my journey through the Undergarden, during which I came across, you guessed it, another iron spells structure, which I of course stopped to loot everything from despite having an incredibly full inventory already. They call me Loot Goblin Supreme for a reason.
Yeah, I have been
Macaroni
like, oh my god, Jesus!
with the chicken strips.
I was reading chat. What the? What in the Giga sword is this? This is my sword now. Why am I flickering? Oh, it does nice damage. Oh, this is mine.
I kept on looting, going as far as tearing the structure apart, as always, which I'm thankful I did because of all the cool stuff I wound up getting that was hidden throughout. Plus, I spotted another one of those houses nearby and wound up finding another barrel, which dropped the rest of the gold I needed to upgrade the backpack further. And since I had enough diamonds on hand, I did the next tier as well, which allowed me much more space for more things. I also realized the villagers I had seen on my minimap weren't actually above me, they were below me.
Oh my god, the villagers were down here the whole time. Goatfish? Dude, goatfish caught by the goat. Please don't turn on TNT. What the f- Gimme, 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 gimme. Gimme, 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 gimme. That button trap would have worked on you, bro. Come on. Chat, no.
After I finished gathering everything in that room and around it, I ran back to the section with the villagers. Settling here would likely be ideal, and it would give me a good edge to stand on while I was in the Undergarden. All the resources available in this structure felt very valuable, especially at this stage. I tore down the centerpiece and one of the larger parts of the structure, using the wood to get some actual storage going. Wood is a bit hard to find in the Undergarden because I think only one biome spawns with it. Structures that spawn with it are more viable in this situation. Oh, and I gathered a bunch of dripstone. In a pack like this that doesn't have the create mod, renewable lava isn't as big of a deal, but it's still not a bad idea to have it on hand.
Okay, so we need this, which means we need glass, glowstone, and 2 redstone comparators. We have 2 redstone torches, and I believe that's it. Yeah. We also don't have any redstone.
Getting Tom Simple Storage online would be quite a bit of a hurdle, especially at this stage. I needed to find a way to get quartz, glowstone, and ender pearls without having nether access. Thankfully, I did have the villagers, and do you know what villagers trade? All 3 of those items. Specifically, I would need a cleric and a mason, and not only that, but enough emeralds to get them leveled up a decent amount. And not only enough emeralds to do that, but to do it multiple times, since there's a chance the villagers don't roll the trades I need on the first or even the second try. Hence why my next big move was making a trading hall.
How does it feel to be in the forever box, loser?
I worked on shuffling the trades for an unfortunate amount of time, and I wound up getting mending for 22 emeralds, but that isn't really the best. It's a fine roll, I guess.
Yummy, we got some good enchants down. Start you in the Benadryl dimension. Dude, literally, Abyssal Ascent starts you off by giving you like too much Benadryl, and then you start seeing the Hat Man. Dude, Eli, you're on the same page as me, bro. The Hat Man stops respecting gender pronouns past 450 milligrams.
I made sure villagers in this mod pack still traded the things I would need for a storage terminal through mending on my super sick sword, and I ran back to the dungeon from earlier. You, dear viewer, may be wondering why, and the reason is that I needed emeralds, and clerics have a trade that is 32 rotten flesh per emerald. Why is this important? Well, the dungeon had several zombie spawners. Setting up a proper mob farm would supply us with the emeralds we needed, plus several other materials that zombies can drop like iron, gold, crops, etc., and XP levels for enchanting later. Plus, I could take a bit of time to loot the place, getting some decent materials on top of everything. So I ran through the entire thing, killing zombies, stripping the materials, breaking a ton of chests and barrels, etc.
At work yesterday, I literally had to jump to be able to see a shelf, and my pharmacist called me short, even though I'm like literally a foot taller than her.
It wasn't that difficult of a structure, but I think that was mostly due to me already having the best armor tier available in the dimension, even if it wasn't enchanted. And as I was running from another horde of zombies, I stumbled into a large room, realizing as I walked up to the throne that this had to be one of the bosses the quest book had spoken about. And of course, I ignored him and ran around looting his castle first. On the actual stream, we took a short break because someone in chat didn't know who Marcus the Worm was, and my sister loves this stupid worm meme, so of course I had to explain.
Hello? Oh, hey Marcus.
Robert, I've been adequately moisturized.
Hey,
Time
thanks. Let me get
for the
back to it.
kiss.
Oh, is it okay? On the list.
Is that Schlatt? Is that Schlatt? Is that Jay Schlatt?
Thanks. Let me
Time
get
for the
back to it.
kiss.
Oh my god, that's Schlatt! It's all come full circle. Oh my god. We've been listening to Schlatt all stream. We've been listening to his music all stream. And then I go to show you guys a clip of this worm I've been seeing on TikTok, and it's Schlatt. And Schlatt he's everywhere. He's everywhere. We can't escape. He is in all things. He is in all things. He's everywhere. I will never be free. Dude,
Good
I will
boy.
never be free of Schlatt.
And that worm is why I had to explain what VR chat was to my sister. Anyway, back to the video. I was now headed back home because I was not going to challenge this boss without preparing accordingly. Thankfully, the run back didn't take too long, and I threw all of my stuff in my chest before using the emeralds I had to invest in some redstone. The cleric was single-handedly carrying my ability to make a Tom Simple storage system, not gonna lie. But because I wanted to tackle that boss soon, I needed to dive into iron spells. So I grabbed every spell in my storage and read them over, popping some interesting ones into this spellbook I found. This can sit in a curio slot, which will allow me to use the spells at will. I also got my enchantment table set up, choosing this little corner and breaking the wood in the old trading hall for more supplies. I also grabbed the wool while I was there since I would need it for beds to get the villagers together. As soon as the enchantment table was ready, I threw my pickaxe in, getting Fortune 3 and Efficiency 4. A nice roll if I do say so myself. I also used my Unbreaking 3 book since I didn't have a spare mending book and I needed my pickaxe to dig out a small spot for the rest of the villagers. Moving them soon would be important to to avoid them accidentally dropping off of this ledge one too many times. So I got that sorted, throwing down all the beds and making a proper trapdoor entrance so they wouldn't be able to get out. Then it was just a matter of getting them in there, which didn't take too long thanks to the carry-on mod. And once that was handled and I was settled into this base, I started working on getting the true progression elements together. To break through the blocks between dimensions, I would need special pickaxes. The first of which is called the Arcane Steel Pickaxe. This one requires an Arcane Steel Ingot and a Frost Steel Pickaxe, which will require an Arcane Ingot, Arcane Debris, and a Forgotten Ingot, as well as enough Frost Steel Nuggets to make 3 ingots for the pickaxe. I had the Arcane Debris and Ingot, but Forgotten Ingots and Frost Steel Nuggets, I didn't have those. Now, where do we get them? Well, a structure we have yet to encounter called the catacombs. But since I wasn't even ready to take on one of the bosses in this dimension yet, I didn't focus on finding it too hard, though I will say I did kill some of the stoneborns because I wanted night vision goggles and they're like the only way to get them. Unfortunately, only a 2% drop chance, but yeah. Once I got back to base, I decided to run all of my things through the enchantment table.
Can throw this through the enchanter. This is pretty cool. It does a lot of damage.
I threw some decent enchantments on all of my gear, going for looting on the new sword over anything else because of how valuable it would be now. When that was done, I started work on the mob farm, which didn't take that long thankfully, digging out a tunnel for them to flow into and making sure I would be in range while using the farm. I ventured back out to the dungeon for a new spawner and threw it into place, testing to see if it worked, and it did. It worked so well in fact that I ran to get another spawner, and when I came back, I realized iron golems spawn here because of the proximity to my villagers. I figured they'll just die over time and this can sort of double as an iron farm, so I wasn't worried about fixing it. And I also got another spawner. This room can hold as many as I want so long as I'm careful, and it was through this farm as well as my villager trading hall that I intended to get my storage system online pre-nether.
I love how I literally got an iron farm out of this on accident. The mason sells a block of quartz. Wait, okay. Did you just censor the word French in French onion soup? Nah, bro. Nah. Thanks for... What do you mean thank you for censoring? Dude, imagine going through somebody's like DNI list and it has French people on it. Or like somebody's trigger words and the word French is on there. This is a bad time to note that I do have an elementary understanding of French because I studied it for 4 years.
For the most part, the rest of this stream was me swapping between using the mob farm and trading the drops with my villagers, as well as me tending to the whole section with the rest of them. I also went on a short side quest for flint, diving down into the waters of the Undergarden so I could get my hands on a fletching table. Since I don't have super solid access to wood yet, it's not going to be a great source of emeralds, but if I'm in a pinch, it should really be helpful at some point. And then it was, quite literally, wash, rinse, repeat until about 20-30 minutes later, I finally landed on one of the key trades I needed. Ender pearls, and then it was the same routine again, although I doubted I'd get lucky with the mason trade. Things up to this point had been going suspiciously well, too close to the plan, and of course I didn't get the trade I needed. So what now? Well, you might say I had a completely normal reaction.
Alrighty. Guys, you know what we gotta do. You know what we gotta do. The villagers won't know anyway. Yeah, exactly. They won't know. Come on, buddy. Better give me the trade I want.
After that, I ended stream and AFK'd at the farm for a while. When I was live again, back to it I went, going through killing the mobs at the spawner and trading repeatedly until eventually, with the new mason, I finally got the quartz I needed. And I rearranged my storage setup, putting the crafting terminal down and feeling very proud of myself for getting this done finally. With the crazy amount of levels I had from sitting at the farm, I worked at re-enchanting my gear, rather happily winding up with sharpness 4, knockback 2, and fire aspect 2, although I was not very happy about losing looting. I also threw mending on my pickaxe and repaired it. Then I started rolling some random books to see if I could get some okay ones, saving the ones I wanted and throwing the rest through the grindstone. I did that over and over again until I ran out of levels, and this method actually ended with me putting Sweeping Edge 3 on my sword alongside Unbreaking 3 and Mending, so I'd say it worked out. Once that was taken care of, I made my way back over to the throne room we stumbled upon in the previous stream. I was determined to take on the dead king guy with no knowledge of him because I am just that good. So I marched in, fully confident that I was about to farm aura off of this guy live on stream.
Oh, that's concerning. I should have probably looked up what this guy does before I hit him. Where you at, bro? Guess what? I can do spells too. Get brimstone ulted! Oh. Ouch. I'm dead. I'm very dead. I didn't know I got poisoned. I did get humbled. Oh my god. We got this, gamers. It'll be fine. I didn't expect to be murdered that quickly. It's fine. This is the entrance, so we can go this way. Hopefully not a lot of zombies down here. Oh, that's quite a few zombies. Okay. Come on this way, buddy. This way, bud. This way, guys. Come on. This way, this way. I'm running by you. Don't worry. I'm just a guy. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. Oh, shit. Wait, I forgot I might have to die. Yeah, we're just gonna have to die. We gotta get a pickaxe first.
So yeah, I got some basic gear together and got back to it. I ran back, digging my way down into the throne room, picking my nice gear back up, and of course there was a giant horde of zombies because everything had been going too well, so the universe just had to throw this guy with his giant longsword at me. But once they were all gone, it was back to my fight with the dead king.
Whoa, he can go invisible. Okay, good to know. Okay, wow, this guy is... Okay. What am I getting hit by? Oh, you're there.
And just when I thought I killed him, that the fight was over, the directors decided they liked him so much they revived him for season 2.
Oh, there he is. Do not like that he gets to be invisible and I don't. That's mean. I want to be included. Do so much damage, bro. Okay. Get mogged. Get mogged. That boss fight was not very good. Anyway, the blood staff. Jesus, okay. Lightning lance. Okay, interesting scroll. I needed to kill that guy for stuff, but I don't. Didn't I? I think in the guidebook it said I had to. Dimension progression 1. Okay. Oh, I guess I don't. Okay, yeah, dude. I don't think that boss was very difficult. I think I just needed a shield.
I wasn't super impressed by the fight, but the animations in the boss were pretty cool. Either way, I got back to figuring out my way to the nether, and at this point I realized I had one more thing left to do before I could get there. Find the catacombs. And so on a long adventure I went searching, and searching for the catacombs I needed. Do you want to know how long I looked for these catacombs? Nearly 5 hours. And after that point, you know what I did? Shamelessly, I went back to my base and ran a locate command, because what do you mean none spawned except this one that was right next to where I spawned, and I just didn't know because I happened to run in the wrong direction. Yeah, no regrets. I'm happy I did that because I would have actually gone insane otherwise. After I found it, I ran down the stairs and through the structure, breaking the chests and killing the mobs down there, specifically targeting the Forgotten Guardian, as it is considered a mini-boss and it drops Forgotten Nuggets, which, if you'll remember from earlier, we need to make the Forgotten Ingot. I just said Forgotten a lot. Ignore that.
Superior the Watcher. Interesting. Okay. These guys don't really drop anything useful, but they do give claw grub. I'm gonna take one back to base, and then I'm gonna come back here with a looting thing.
So I left the catacombs and ran all the way back home with the spawner in hand, which was a bit funny since I had to swim a good chunk of the way, but don't worry about that. So I got there, ran to the mob farm, and dropped the spawner in. And when I went to use it, I realized the Clawgrim guys are like 3 blocks tall. You know how tall my little tunnel is? 2 blocks. That's like trying to fit a circle in a square hole. Or I guess a big square into a little square hole. I don't know. I don't care. I just knew it didn't work, so I made some adjustments to the mob farm and fixed the problem. I did fall in and like maybe nearly die, but don't worry, I farmed those guys pretty good after.
I'm just the goat. I'm built different, bro.
I made sure the Clawgrim guys, they're called the Forgotten by the way, I just think Clawgrim guy is funnier, were falling into the kill chamber, and then I got to enchanting the cool sword I found in the catacombs. Unfortunately, it took quite a few rounds of enchanting before I got anything good because the table really wanted to keep chucking backstabbing and skulk smite at me when I just desperately wanted a good base roll of enchantments. I had a looting villager at this point, and if I could get a good roll plus looting 3, killing the Forgotten Guardians would be much faster and much nicer because I'd get so many extra nuggets that I wouldn't ever really hurt for them again. After a few rounds of enchanting, I did wind up snagging sharpness 4, so I was not re-rolling that. I grabbed my saved books and ran to the anvil, throwing them on the new sword. Oh, and I decided to name it the Sword of the Cosmos. Why? Because it sounds really cool, and it's got my name in it. I sat at the mob farm a little while longer, and then I took stock of what we had versus what we needed. I had enough Forgotten Nuggets, but not enough of the Frost Steel ones, so I would need to make another trip back to the catacombs, which I was already preparing to do. Plus, I wanted more of the Forgotten Nuggets anyway, in case I'd wind up needing them down the line. I did another quick round of enchanting, Unbreaking, getting Protection 4 and Unbreaking 3, as well as Mending on my chestplate, then Efficiency 5 on my pickaxe. I wanted to put Mending on my whole armor set, but I didn't have enough emeralds to buy enough books or enough levels to completely re-enchant everything, so I instead opted to sit at the mob farm for a minute. Then I realized I'm going to go kill things in the catacombs anyway, and I'll get levels from that.
We should probably also take blocks with us so that we can easily get to and from the labyrinth, which is that way. What if we set up a railway to go straight to the labyrinth? I probably have the stuff to make a railway. As long as we keep it on a straight line, it should be mostly fine to not like use a lot of resources.
So I started planning the railway, figuring out the logistics of it before I got to building. I figured it was best to invest a bit of time and resources in the early game, that way getting to and from the catacombs would be easier in the long run. And also I had this hammer spell I wanted to test out. As I said earlier, this was my first time actually playing with iron spells and spellbooks being so integrated into the early stages of progression. The second I realized this spell clears out so many blocks without breaking or destroying ores is the second I knew how I was getting a ton of netherite once I finally got out of the Undergarden. Anyway, once I had the initial path leading all the way to the catacombs placed down, I worked on getting the actual railway part set up. We did have the hyper fast rails in this pack, but I had tried them out on a previous world and, well, let's just say it didn't go well, so I opted to mostly stick with the more vanilla rails. I ran a few tests on how the rail had been working so far, noting that it definitely needed some more work before it was 100% done, but at that point I had been streaming for like 6 hours, so I ended for the night and got some sleep. The next time I was on though, I was determined to get to the nether, and when I loaded the stream back up the next day, I had almost 200 levels and some explaining to do, which I'll just compress into a quick narrative using Microsoft Paint for you. So I AFK'd overnight at the farm, but before that I set up some special chests that could store more items and take upgrades. And what upgrades did I use to make this more efficient? Well, stacking, voiding, smelting, and compacting. Stacking to increase the amount of items that can be stacked in a single slot, voiding to get rid of things I couldn't recycle, like special weapons and armor from the Clogroom guys for example, smelting to convert other weapons, tools, and armor into nuggets, and compacting to convert those into ingots and eventually into blocks. That one worked not only for metals, but for crops as well. Yeah, I got efficient with it. But that is all I did, nothing else in world. So when I got back to streaming, I took care of some of the extra stuff I didn't account for in the initial setup and immediately went back to finish the construction of my railway. That didn't take very long thankfully, and I ran into the catacombs looting a bunch of the chests and rooms to get the things I needed together. I also killed every forgotten guardian I saw on my minimap, which left me with more than enough forgotten ingots. And when I decided to head home, I got to use my super cool rail system the whole way without issues, and that's a first for a playthrough from me. When I got back, I took a bunch of my extra blocks and loot out of my backpack, depositing it all in my storage terminal, which I realized was probably getting a bit full, so I expanded the storage system as well. We would probably need all the space we could get, and down the line we would ideally expand into upgradable chests, but we're nowhere near that point yet, so this will do. After that was done, I made my frost steel pickaxe and arcane ingot, and finally combined them together for our first pickaxe of many.
Okay. This is the first step progression wise. And to get this is our way out of the Undergarden.
Now it was time to build our highway to hell. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted a sort of railway system that would go all the way up through the dimensions. At first, I didn't expect it to be this grand thing, but down the line, I have big plans. So I dug all the way up, laying the foundation for the rails as I went, and finally I broke the last layer of normal blocks, and I was looking at the barrier between realms. The pieces of obsidian were the only thing between me and the nether now.
Oh. We made it! Let's go!
And that, my friends, is where this journey ends. For now. You all voted for this to be an episodic series, so you'll have to wait for the nether section a little bit. If you want to see where I currently am on this world, you can check me out on Twitch. I'm on a bit of a break for January at the moment, but starting in February, you'll be seeing me over there again regularly. I'll see you all soon. In the meantime, YouTube thinks you'll enjoy this video, so maybe give it a shot. Thank you, bye-bye.